Let's just start with mysticism. Some people talk about a mystical experience about God. What is mysticism? And if you read the mystics, it can sound like, well, I don't see what the big deal is. So what's right and wrong about the mystical tradition? Let's start there.
Yeah, this is a big one, and volumes and volumes have been written on what is mysticism and who are mystics and who is and who isn't and what are we even talking about. And so you're going to find different definitions of it and different ways of approaching that concept. But my sense is that at the end of the day, what unites those is some sort of sense that amongst the so-called mystical tradition, often people are talking about kind of medieval uh, folks from the Middle Ages who were looking for, but it goes before them and it goes continues after them. It's this quest for we might call it a sort of unmediated encounter with the divine. This and I use the word divine deliberately because mystic applies to people who there's Christian mystics, so called, but then it applies to all sorts of folks who are outside of Christianity altogether. And so mysticism, this quest for an unmediated encounter with the divine, some sort of direct contact with the divine. And what we see amongst these Christian mystics, so called, is there's a couple things that I think we might take issue with. But for me, in the book, where that comes out quite a bit, is this idea that if you are really going deep in your contact with God and your communion with Him, you will get to a point where you transcend words. And this seems to be a thread that unites a lot of these voices, that words are important and they're good, and the Bible even gives us words, but that's sort of where you start. And where you end up is this communion with God that somehow transcends that, and you get into a sort of wordless prayer and just reveling in the presence of God in this unmediated way. And again, I don't think that's the picture that the Bible itself paints. And I think the Reformation and the Reformed tradition in particular within the Reformation, we find theologians and pastors who get that. And that's a important thing to voice as well. And I try to bring this out in the book. When I'm bigging up the Reformed tradition, it's because my conviction is that the Reformed tradition on these points, they are seeing the biblical picture more clearly than other traditions. I think it's the Bible itself that gives us a word-based piety. And the Reformers are just, in church history, I think, the group that really kind of sees that with clarity and explores it with depth. And that's where mysticism, I think, goes wrong.
Yeah, you say in your chapter here on prayer, according to Bernard McGinn, a leading scholarly authority on Christian mysticism, quote, "The mystical element in Christianity pertains to the preparation for, the consciousness of, and the reaction to the immediate or direct presence of God." And you hit those two things. It's unmediated, so not through the word, and it's a next stage beyond knowing. It's this mysterious cloud of unknowing. It's this one quotation here. It's an ascent through rationality toward the edge of language. And that's what is problematic about mysticism, even though we may talk about, well, Jonathan Edwards had a mystical experience, meaning just a transcendent and a deeply felt experience. But mysticism as an ism has these qualities and is problematic. Just